how to do a cable cast on. So I want to start by showing you what a cable cast on is going to look like. This is a hat that I've made using a cable cast on for this edge. So you can see it gives this nice decorative edge to it, and it looks a little bit like a chain of knit stitches on this bottom side. So let's go ahead and get into how to do a cable cast on stitch. To do the cable cast on, we're going to need 2 knitting needles and some yarn. Let me show you 2 different ways to get started with this, because to start a cable cast on, you're going to need 2 stitches on your needle. The easiest way to do that is to make a slip knot, put it on your left hand needle, and then simply knit into that with your right hand needle. Now a little bit of caution here, you want to make sure you're grabbing your working yarn, not your tail. Take that working yarn, knit, pull up a loop, and then you're just going to put that onto the left hand needle along with that slip knot. And that creates the first 2 stitches. Now here's why I don't do it this way, because do you see that I have this knot there? And I can really feel it. I wish you could feel it through the screen, but you can't. But we have this knot there that doesn't fit the decorative edge of a cable cast on the same way. To be honest, you will probably never notice it. But let me show you a way that you don't have that knot and it's just a little more seamless with the rest of the cast on. Okay, I'm going to take the yarn, I'm going to trap it with my left pinky, I'm going to wrap it around my left thumb and finger and go back under my left pinky. So it's trapped and I've created this triangle. So you can see this triangle that I've created. Okay, let me show you how to do that one more time. We're going to go under our left pinky, around our thumb, around our finger, back under the pinky, so it's trapped and we've created this triangle right here. Okay, now I'm going to take the needle in my right hand and watch carefully. I'm going to go from back to front underneath this yarn that's between my thumb and my finger, and I'm going to then go over and from front to back with this yarn that's between my thumb and my pinky. I'm going to bring the tip of my needle up right next to my thumb in this loop by my thumb. Next, I'm going to go around to the front side of this yarn between my my thumb and my finger. I'm going to lift that up and I'm going to come back through this loop by my thumb. Okay, you can see that I have these 2 stitches on the needle and all I have to do is pull my thumb out and pull that tail, and there I have 2 stitches on my needle. Now let me show you that one more time in kind of slow motion. I'm not going to talk through this, just watch what I do. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You're probably not going to get that right the first time you try it. I certainly did not get that right the first time I tried it. Try it a few times, practice it a little bit, and it becomes really second nature. And then you have these 2 stitches that are on here without that big knot in the middle that's messing things up. And it'll look seamless with the rest of the cable cast on. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hold this needle with the 2 stitches on our left hand. We're going to take our right hand needle and put it between those 2 stitches. Now, this first time you have to work it through the stitches just a little bit, but we're between these 2 stitches. We're going to take again the working yarn, not the tail. We're going to go around from left to right over that right hand needle and pull up a loop. We're going to take this loop and we're going to put the left hand needle underneath. Let's see if you can see this really well. So I'm going to go underneath and go between into that loop and then pull out the right needle because it's on the left needle now. Now I'm not going to pull it tight yet because I want to put my right needle between these two stitches yet again. We're always going to be putting the right needle between the last two stitches. If I pull it tight before I do that, it's really difficult to get the right needle in the right place. And if I wait to pull it tight until after the right needle is between these two stitches, my tension is much more even and it gives a much nicer edge to the cast on. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. We're going to go over this right hand needle from left to right, pull up a loop, put the left hand needle underneath the top part of that loop, switch it over to the left needle, and put the right needle between these two stitches before we pull tight. And again. Okay, so every time we're putting the right needle between the last two stitches, we're wrapping around, we're pulling up a loop, and we are transferring that over to the left needle and repeat. I'll do a few more. You can just watch. If you are following along as you're watching this, you can follow and be casting on stitches with me as we go. Now I'm just going to cast on about, I don't know, 8 or 10 stitches because I want to show you how to do the last stitch. The last stitch is important. So let's say this is the last stitch I want, the one that I have now on my right needle. If all I do is put that on my left needle, look what happens. It has no base to it. It's just kind of hanging off there in space and it's kind of wrapping around the needle funny. It doesn't have the structure that all these other stitches have for a base. I don't want that. So let's cast that stitch on one more time. And let me show you how to give it a base. So just like the other stitches, we're going to go left to right over that right hand needle and pull up a loop. But this time we're not going to pull the loop out and put it onto the left needle. We're going to take our working yarn and we're going to move it between the two needles. So it's now between the two needles, and then I'm going to lay it over my right hand needle right in front of the loop I just pulled out. I'm going to take that loop, and instead of that loop becoming my last stitch, that's going to become the base of my last stitch, and I'm going to pull a loop out that I can put on the left needle as that last stitch. Now you see that it has a base just like all these other stitches, so it fits with the look of the rest of the cable cast on.